All right. So, okay. So today we're going to be talking about conquering our fear. We're going to be talking about what's stopping your success. We're going to be talking about becoming superheroes. We're going to be talking about all of that, right? And the first thing, let's talk about, does anybody have something that they're afraid of? Or like, does anybody feel like fear is something that is preventing them from achieving things, accomplishing things? Let's do a little poll. So we got Laverne. I got my people that won't show me their faces. Don't be shy. Remember? Ready to go? Put in the chat. Put in the chat. You're dealing with, fear. Has fear been something that you can admit or you can see has been stopping you from being successful? Who's gonna share? Because we want to make sure, like, hey, what we're doing, the material that is relevant, that is right on time, that it is impacting and touching you where you need to be touched. So that's where we want to start. Like, who feels like fear, anxiety has contributed to their success? All right, we got 2 hands. We had multiple hands, 3 hands, 4 hands. Stopping your success. So that's good, because we know it is. We know it is contributing. It has some level of impact as a roadblock or an obstacle to you wanting to achieve what you want. And that's why we want to spend some time speaking about that today. So it's myself and our head of agent development, Ms. Dionne Collier. She's on as well. And we're going to tag team this thing. But before I get started, Dionne, you want to just kind of welcome everybody, introduce yourself and all of that before we jump full-fledged into this thing?
Hello, everybody. I'm Dionne Collier with Agent Development, and I look forward to a successful or productive meeting today.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to rock it. I'll be back.
She's doing mommy work. Hold on, let's see. Let me text this person. Oh, you know what? I never switched her number out. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Oh, God. All right, so we are going to be, let me send this text real quick, and then we'll get started. All right, let's do this. Let us do this. Conquering your fear. So we sent a poll out on Facebook. Some of you guys might have saw it. And we actually posed this question. We posed this question to people on Facebook. Matter of fact, one of the person that responded to our post is actually on here today. See, we got your comment on here, Laverne.
Yeah.
That proves to you guys that we actually be reading and looking at what y'all send in. But we sent to about 5 different Facebook groups just asking, if you're really scared of something, how do you get over that fear? Just to see what kind of feedback that we would get from people. So, we see Chanel over here. She just say, I say F it. I say F it and just do it. Have to think of all the time I'm wasting just by thinking of all the what ifs and how I'd feel later, knowing that I never even tried. So I just push myself and take that leap. That was her answer to how she deals with it. And like I said, Laverne, she says she keeps doing whatever the task is. You repeat until you get through it. right? So for God had not given us a spirit of fear, which is true, but power of love and of sound mind. And those are great ways to approach something that is causing us apprehension, that is causing us a level of fear that we're approaching to it. So I just want to share that because it's always good to get insights from other people, not just completely relying on, what we feel is our thing. All right. So now, before we jump into some techniques and some solutions, I want you all to do a little exercise. We're going to do a little exercise. All right. Let me make sure I can see everybody. Who all has ever had a breakthrough in something? Who all has ever had a breakthrough? Yeah. Have your screen on and put your hand up. Use the little hand icon or unmute yourself. Who all has ever had a breakthrough?
Yeah.
You've had a breakthrough, Laverne?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Laura, Erica, have you all ever had a breakthrough?
Yeah, I joined you guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so here's the exercise. The exercise is that I want you to think of a time where you had a breakthrough. And I want you to write it out. All right, so hopefully you got some pen and some paper so you can take part in this exercise. I want you to tell me, what was your breakthrough? What was the situation you struggled with for a long time and then finally broke through? Because a lot of times, and because we're talking about fear today, let's, if you've conquered a fear, if you've gotten past something that you remember, you recall that you were formerly afraid of, if you've gotten past that, that's the situation that I want you to focus on. What was that situation and where you finally got past it? And I want you to ask yourself, what was the moment that changed it all? What triggered it? What made it a must that you'll no longer be afraid of this thing? And then the last question is, what made it possible for that change to last? Like what new belief, what strategy, what insight? So I'm gonna give you guys a couple of minutes. I'm going to put on the music again. And I want you guys to do this exercise. Answer these questions, whether it's on a piece of paper, whether you're using your phone, your notes in your phone, however you choose to do it. I want you to do that. Play you some. Y'all hear the music?
Yes.
Couple of minutes.
Pieces of my heart.
What was that thing that you were afraid of? You got past.
Looking out for something that's
got past that fear. What was the situation?
Don't change, I'll turn the shades of gray.
Finally got past it. What was that thing? What was that moment that changed it all?
And I shoot up a flare from my hope
Made it a must.
Sing it SOS. Can someone save me? I'm all out.
Let's get everything that we can out of this training today. Let's show up.
Make it, baby.
Give it everything that we have.
And I shoot up a flare, throw my hope in the air, sing it SOS, sing it SOS. And I shoot up a flare, throw my hope in the air, sing it SOS. Can someone save me?
What was that fear? How did you get
Can
there?
someone save me?
What was that moment that triggered, that changed it all for you?
Save me. Can someone save me?
Play all in today. Get maximum results.
Can someone save me?
What made it possible for that change?
Save me. SOS. Quiet, it's too loud. My faith is on the ground. You lay down there with me when I'm lonely. Touching every scar, you fix the jagged parts. They cut you, but you still wanna hold me. And I shoot up a flare, throw my hope in the air, sing it SOS. Can
All right, perfect. So now, is anybody courageous enough to share with the group today? Anybody courageous enough to share? I know I have one, at least one person that's courageous.
Go. I gotta give somebody else a chance to talk.
Is anybody courageous enough?
I'll go.
You'll go?
Somebody
Let's
else?
go, Laverne.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, so for me, the breakthrough was when I first started doing real estate years ago. My first deal was with a friend girl of mine. And you know how people not sure about using you? Well, she was excited to use me. And so it was a friend of mine and I actually got through it. So what was the moment that changed it all? I wasn't working and I need the money. I'm like, well, you need to just do this because I'm one of those people. I just read and study and take classes and classes. And I'm like, okay, I just need to just do it. And so I'm good at talking and passing out cards and getting people to get in contact. But the follow-up, the follow-through, I get nervous and scared because it's like, oh my God, she's actually excited. So now what? And what's the next step? And but once she was excited, and then I got excited about her using me. And they always tell you, well, you're the expert, you know this, and you don't always feel like the expert. But I got through it, and it just changed the rest of my real estate career. But even now, just remembering that is bringing me back to I'm the expert, and I just need to just do it and not think about, because just coming over to Brooks and Davis, and because I didn't do any real estate last year, I feel like I'm new all over again. So now my fear is just doing it. My fear is, I got to go get the form. What do I go get the form for? And I know all of this, but it's taking me longer than I wanted to take to go get the form, to fill it out. And so all of that is slowing me down because my numbers could be a lot bigger if I would just do it and not think about it. Because I know I've done it in the past and I can do it. So I know it's possible.
Okay, awesome. Well, look, I really appreciate you sharing that with us, Laverne. Thank you for being courageous and going out there and doing that. Anyone else want to share their story? Maybe we can all grow from it together. Okay. So I'm currently participating in, there's a 5-day challenge that Tony Robbins is having right now. And some of the information that he's been speaking on is extremely relevant to our time that we're going to be spending together as it relates to talking about, conquering, getting past those things that are stopping us, that have been impediments to our success. So I love Tony Robbins because he breaks things down into his most simplest form, which allows us to consume the information easier. One of my favorite statements, it was actually life-changing for me when I first heard him say it, was that complexity is the enemy of execution, right? And a lot of times it's hard for us to execute on things, to move in a particular direction that's moving us towards the outcomes that we want. It's hard or challenging for us to do that because the concept is too complex. The approach is too complex. It's hard for us to understand the best way to approach it. So with that being the case, what Tony has done is that when he's talking about 3 keys to breakthrough, and I equate breakthrough to fear, right? Getting yourself to a point to where you're not afraid, because that's not what we're here to do. We're not here to get you to a point to where you're not afraid of things anymore. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to get you, because you're a human. I mean, fear, that's a part of the human complex. You're going to be afraid to do things. We want to get you to a point to where you're able to do things, accomplish things, still move forward in that fear, with that fear, having that fear on you, that it doesn't stop you. That's what we're here to do, to get fear to a place to where you will no longer allow it to stop you from achieving the things that you want to do. So one of the three keys that Tony presented has to do with these. And he worked it backwards, so I'm gonna work it backwards too. The first one that he talked about was strategy. That a lot of the reason that we're not able to move forward in areas that cause us a level of fear, that cause us a level of anxiety, we're not able to move forward in those areas because we don't have the right strategy. We don't have the right approach. We don't know how to execute in that vein because we haven't been able to identify, like we don't even know how to do it. We don't even know how to, the best way to approach it. So we don't have a strategy. We don't have the right strategy to be able to utilize. Well, a lot of the reason that we don't have a strategy, or what really contributes to us having the ability to come up with strategy or strategies in areas of fear or anxiety, or in circumstances of fear and anxiety, is the story. It's that story that we tell ourselves about whatever situation, whatever circumstance that we're in. And based on that story that we reveal to ourselves, is going to create a picture, is going to create a representation. And based off of that representation that we have in our mind's eye, it creates that fear. Because how many of us know that in many instances, fear is not real? Like it's not based on, like even if standing in front of you is just the scariest big black Canadian bear is standing in front of you. Well, the reality is it's a bear in front of you. And even if he's growling and he got this face, this ugly face, like, I mean, man, he's finna come tear you up. He's staring there, right? The facts of the matter is, it's just a bear in front of you, and he looks mean. But now here's the story that we're probably telling ourselves. Man, that bear's gonna come get me. That bear's gonna come eat me. That bear's gonna come kill me, right? That bear is hungry, and I'm the one that's on his plate. And because of that story that now you created as it relates to seeing that bear in front of you, guess what happens? You get scared. And like I said earlier, it's okay because that bear may come get you. That bear may eat you. That bear may, you may be the number one item on its menu. But what you can't do is because of the story that you've told yourself, choose the wrong strategy. And the strategy a lot of people choose when they get afraid is what? They stand still, right? Because what you should do is run, right? Or what you should do is you should find the best way to maneuver to. But a lot of times when we're in a state of fear, we don't, we make bad decisions. We make bad choices. And at the end of the day, all a bad choice is the wrong strategy of execution when we're in that move, right? And a lot of times the strategy that we choose when we're afraid in areas of fear is to not do nothing. And that's where the problem comes in, because we're choosing to not do nothing. We're not choosing any strategy. We can't identify any strategy solely based on the story that we've created. Well, here's the thing about stories, though. Stories are greatly influenced by the state of mind, the state that you're in at the moment that you create that story. A lot of why people indulge in, say, like alcohol, drugs, things like that, is because it affects us biochemically, right? Because when you think of the word emotion, all emotion is energy in motion, right? It's a biochemical response that goes on in our body that creates the emotion of happy, or it creates the emotion of angry, or it creates the emotion of sad or depressed. It's a biochemical reaction happening in the body. That's what an emotion is. So depending on the particular state that I'm in, if I feel great, if I feel at 100%, if I feel that I'm super energized, if I feel unstoppable, right? If I just had a wonderful, I just won $1 million. Look, if you won $1 million, you just won $1 million lottery, money's in your bank. If you see that bear, the story you're gonna tell yourself is gonna be a little bit different. Now, why is that? Because you're in a great state, right? Now, here's the reverse. A crappy thing just happened. Right? Maybe you had a lost one, maybe you just got into a wreck. Right? Maybe you just lost $1 million, right? Well, now, losing $1 million, going into a situation that makes things worse is gonna be worse because your state has been impacted. So when talking about, before we can even talk about getting a breakthrough or breaking through fear, we first need to talk about state, we need to talk about story, and then we need to talk about strategies. And that's why I like this concept, because it breaks it down in such a way to where we can make some changes, make some transformations, and make some adjustments. So we're going to talk about state, we're going to talk about story, we're going to talk about strategy. Okay? So now, I'm going to ask some questions. When talking about state, how many people know how to get themselves into like the best state ever? I call it peak state. Peak state meaning you feel unstoppable. Who's been in that particular state before? If you don't have your camera on, just unmute yourself and tell me, who has ever been in a state, that level of state, to where you can't stop, the world can't stop you, nothing can stop you, nothing can take you off this cloud? Who's ever been in that situation, in that state? All right, Laverne got her hand up. Who else? Come on, Laverne shouldn't be the only one playing with us today. All right, Dionne, I want you to play, show up. If you're gonna get something out of these trainings, you gotta show up, right? How you show up is gonna determine, because here's one thing, I believe Zig Ziglar said this. Oh no, it was Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn actually said this. How you do some things is how you do everything, right? So how you show up on these trainings is how you showing up in your business. It's how you showing up in your relationships. It's how you showing up when, in other areas and other activities of your life. So you got to show up. You got to play the game to win. You got to play to win. Who knows how to? So we got Adrian, we got Laverne, we got Laura. Who knows how to bring themselves into peak state? All right. So here's the thing. When you brought yourself into that state, what kind of result, if you can go back, I want you all to tap into your imagination, and I want you to go back to a moment in time when you was in that state. I want you to float back into your body, and I want you to see what you saw, feel what you felt, hear what you heard in that moment. I want you to go back to that moment, and I want you to tell me what kind of results were you able to achieve when you was in that state? What kind of outcomes were you able to get? If you don't want to say it out loud, put it in the chat. What kind of outcome, what kind of results were you able to accomplish when you go back to that moment and you was in that state? What were you able to achieve from that? For everybody that raised their hands. All right, Laverne says the results she expected. All right, who else? What were you able to receive? What were you able to achieve when you were in that peak state, when you go back to that moment that you recall. Adrian says you're able to get a lot achieved. I've been able to do things others thought were impossible. Adrian said she was able to get things done that people thought were impossible when she was in that peak state. Who else? What were you able to accomplish as you reflect on when you were in that state, when you were in that particular state, that peak state? Right? Okay, so now let's hit the opposite side of things. Who all has been in a low state, right? So if we had to grade it, we'll say from 0 to 10, 0 meaning out of it completely, done, and 10 being unstoppable, like Adrian said. How many of you all have been in a zero state, a low state, not a peak state, underwhelming, depressed, low, at the bottom? Raise your hand if that's happened to you. You know, Laura says when she was in her peak state, a big pay, and realized that she could do what's needed when she just started, which is always the hardest to do. Absolutely. So we see what happens when we're in peak state. But recall when you was in that low state, right? It was a low moment. You wasn't feeling it. You know, it's just one of those days. Your body just wasn't following instructions. It just, you know, things wasn't working out. The world just didn't seem clear, right? Go back to that moment. You know, and people are already answered the question. You already know the answer, right? What were the results? What were the outcomes that you were getting when you was in that state, right? It defeats you, right? Broke, unhappy, right? Those are the results. Now, here's the $1 million question. Were you a different person? Right? Or we dealing with the same person? The same person? Meaning you had the same level, same breath, same blood flowing in your body, same hands, same arms, same legs, same chest. The same individual, but was getting 2 different results at 2 different times. That's the power of the mind, and that's the power of what is created when the state. So here's the point. The point is become more aware of your emotional and your mental state. It's no way that you can combat any level of fear, any level of obstacle, because especially in real estate, we're faced with those things all the time. It's no way that you can even compete up against those things if you're not in the right state to go and go up against them. And a lot of the reason on why you're not able to achieve the success and the results that you're looking for is because you haven't been intentional about your mental and emotional state prior to execution, right? Prior to getting up out the bed and going about your workday, you probably haven't paid 0 attention to making sure that you're in a peak, that you're in the peakest, the highest level of you that you can possibly be in. And now, and what are some of the things that can contribute to how we feel? What are some of the things that can contribute to that? Right? What are some of the things that can contribute to the level of energy that we bring to the table on a daily basis? Obviously, rest, how much rest we're getting, the types of food we're eating, as well as how often, how much we're eating, hydration, right? Movement. Tony Robbins, what Tony Robbins says is that if you want to completely take total control over your state at any moment to ensure that you're always at peak state, he says the only thing that you need to focus on is movement and motion. If you go to any of his events, even if you just look at him talk, right? He's constantly moving. He's rarely doing an event where he's not standing up. Everything that he does, unless it's an interview or whatever, he's standing up. He's moving. You go to one of his Unleash the Power Thens, and he got us jumping. He got the music playing. He got all of that going, right? Even if you look at some of his things, before he even comes to the stage, before he even begins, he's in the back. And he's jumping, he's moving, he's turning around in circles. Now, to a person that's on the outside, that look crazy. But if you're gonna go talk to 20,000 people, you better bring your best self out there, right? But guess what we're not doing? We're not doing that. We're not showing up in the right state, right? So now, that's the first thing we need to adjust. Boom, make sure that you're in the right state. When you think about fear, you think about breakthrough. The next thing is, what is the story? What is the story that you're saying, that you're telling yourself about that situation? Right? What's the story? And the reason that you have to focus on state first before you move into story, because your state, the state that you're in, is going to dictate the story that you create about it. If you feel unstoppable, Adrian, then the story that you create about the thing that's now in front of you is, it can't stop me. But if you feel defeated, then the thing that's in front of you, the story you're gonna create about that thing is, I can't get past that. I can't get through that. That's the story. So that's why state is important. Well, now once you get past state, once you're in the highest level of your being, then now you want to be conscious of the story that you're creating about that circumstance, about that situation, right? So now you think about the fear, right? I use this as an example. I'm pretty sure some people, they're afraid to say, jump out of a plane. Like, I'm pretty sure there are plenty of people that at first thought, at first glimpse, I'm good. I'm not going to jump out of a plane, right? Now, here's the reality. If you come at that thought with the state that says, I'm unstoppable, you feeling like that, you've got so much energy flowing through your body and you're feeling like that. Well, now when that thought of, should I jump out this plane? If you feeling unstoppable, the story's gonna be, well, it ain't my first choice, but what you got to lose? And you're gonna try it, right? A lot of us, when we approach a fear, right? We don't concern ourselves with none of these things, right? We just automatically default to our regular pattern. And our regular pattern is, we just not even gonna be bothered with it. We just gonna move in a different direction. What I say our regular pattern was, to not do nothing. That's our regular pattern of how we deal with fear. And what I'm here to submit to you is that you're missing out on a lot of living. Now, don't know you're missing out on a lot of success. You're missing out on a lot of exposing yourself to the great things that this life has to offer you, because there are things that are unfamiliar to you, that are unknown to you, that creates a level of fear for you. And the strategy that you're choosing is to not do nothing, right? So you're in essence depriving yourself. So now, if you want to change it and you think about that fear now, the first thing you want to do when that fear presents itself, when you start thinking about that thing like, I really want to do it, but I'm afraid to do it. You start thinking about that thing, the first thing you want to do is make sure you're in the right state. Stand up, get moving, go for a run, go do a workout. The best time to make decisions on things that scare you is after a good workout. Because you've been getting it in, you got the sweat, you've been moving, right? Do that before you make a decision on something that causes you a level of fear, right? Takes you completely in it, right? If you have apprehension about making follow-up calls, making cold calls, calling a client, not knowing what the outcome is going to be. So you're apprehensive about making the call. Get your workout in, go do some push-ups, do some running, 15, 20 minutes. It ain't got to be long. Get your good sweat in and then go make that call, because you're going to be feeling like on top of the world. And that's why I agree with Tony Robbins. Motion, movement, that's the thing, right? That really, really, really can adjust your state and how you feel, right? Be more aware of the story that you're telling. So now, once you get the state together, and then once you reframe in NLP, which is neuro-linguistics programming, we call it reframing. Reframing is taking an instance, taking a situation, taking a circumstance, and even if you accept the story that you place on it, see if there are alternative stories, if there are alternative frames that can apply to the situation, prior to just choosing this is what it is, right? Go back to my bear. Go back to my bear illustration. Oh, that bear want to eat me. That's the story you tell. Man, that bear just may be yawning, right? Look, that bear may be blind. That bear can't even see you, right? But we automatically, boom. This is the one that we go to, clearly. Hey, you want to jump out the plane? Oh, no, I'm gonna die. All right, that's the story, right? Versus, this could be life-changing. By doing this, it could give me the level of confidence to where I can go achieve anything and it take my life to the next level. We don't take that story, right? So that's what a reframe is. So it's the story, be more aware of the story. And then by being in the right state and having an empowering story, creating an empowering story, because a lot of the stories that we create are disempowering, creating an empowering story, then you'll be in the right mental space to identify the right strategies to utilize, right? So again, say having to make this phone call to this client is going to be a difficult conversation. You don't want to have it. You're uncomfortable about it. You're going to get that workout in, you get in the right state. And instead of saying, you know what, my client's going to be so mad, they're going to be sad, they're going to fire me, all this work, matter of fact, they're not just going to fire me, they're going to yell at me, they're going to curse me out, they're going to go tell all their friends, and then I'm going to start losing all this money because my reputation is broken, right? Because that's the kind of stuff we be feeding ourselves. You don't know how the client's going to receive it, but that's the kind of stuff we be feeding ourselves, right? So instead of that story, you say, you know what? I'm going to tell her this, but at first it's going to be a little challenge for her to receive it, but I'm going to offer her the confidence and we're going to figure out a solution and it's actually going to work out better than what she originally thought. Say that story. You're in a good mood. You have an empowering story. So now guess what? Now you're in the right mind frame to figure out what's the best way to approach it. What's the best strategy to approach to be able to receive the outcome that you're trying to receive. So that's why those three areas are important. Okay. You all have seen this diagram before. I've been talking about story. And another word that we utilize in NLP is called internal representation. That's your story. And the story, and I said this in our communication training, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but the story comes from the external input, what we see out in the world. And so that's through our eyes, through sound, through touch, through smell, through taste, right? So that's seeing the bear, smelling the bear, hearing the bear, all of that. So then when it comes in, our unconscious mind is going to do one of three things, or it may do all three of them. It's going to delete some information. How many times y'all been looking for something and it's been right there in front of your face? But you looking for it. You all over, you up there, you done went to that spot 4 different times. Well, guess what happened? For whatever reason, your unconscious mind felt you didn't need to see that. So every time it felt like it wasn't important in the grand scheme of things, what was going on. So you were overlooking it. That's a deletion, right? Sometimes a distortion. I get this all the time. And I know, and y'all be doing it to me. I'll ask y'all a question and then y'all ask a completely different question. Y'all answer a completely different question. Well, and then I'll come back and be like, well, this is what I asked. And then boom, especially in our coaching. Well, that's because there are these filters, because that's all it is, it's a filter. And your unconscious mind has distorted what you heard, right? And then the last thing is generalize. You know, a lot of times, the best example of generalizing is driving a car, right? When you first learn to drive a car, if you all can go back to that moment in time when you was learning how to drive a car, you were focused on, it was so difficult because you were trying to focus on every single element of driving the car, right? You're focusing on, you know, where to put your hands, where to put your foot, you know, especially if we're talking about driving a shift or a clutch. You had to focus on every single element. But once you got good at driving a car, you don't even think about it. Half of y'all probably be driving cars, y'all be on the phone, y'all be putting your makeup on, y'all be probably doing all kinds of things, not even thinking about it. Now your unconscious mind has generalized that, right? But once it gets past that filter, and it has about 7 other filters that we're not going to go into detail with, but they're the ones on the screen. So once it get past those filters, then what ends up happening is that's where the map comes in, right? Because the other filters are based on your decisions you made in the past, experiences, attitudes, your beliefs, different memories. So that external input that you're seeing, hearing, smelling, feeling has now traveled through these filters in your brain, and now it's created a picture. And taking that picture along with how you feel, the physiology, and that's why Tony Robbins said you got to get up, you got to move, you got to feel good, get motion, get movement, because that picture, based on the filters that you have working and how you're feeling, is going to create your state. That's going to create that picture. That's going to create that story. And that story is going to drive your behavior, which we can interchange for strategy, because you execute the strategy with your behavior. So that's the story. Okay. Now, here's the reality. At the end of the day, we're superheroes. And at any moment, because here's an example when just talking about the physiology of things, how you can utilize your body to take you into the state that you want. Harvard did a study, and in that study, it talked about some things. But before I get into it, I want to show you this clip for your Grey's Anatomy fans. Here's the clip. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear it.
Okay, I have everything set up. You will have all of your films, your favorite scrub nurse. What is happening?
I'm being a superhero.
Okay.
There's a scientific study that shows that if you stand like this in superhero pose for just 5 minutes before a job interview or a big presentation or a really hard task, you will not only feel more confident, you will perform measurably better.
Seriously?
Seriously. You feel it?
We're superheroes.
We are superheroes. Hold up your head and enter the arena and face the enemy.
All right, so everybody get up. Get up right now. Get up right now. And show me that you're a superhero. Superhero pose. Stand in it for 30 seconds. Come on, Shay, get up. I see you. 30 seconds. You know how superheroes do. They smiling. You ain't never seen no superhero smile. When they get in that moment, when they done defeated the enemy, and they didn't conquer, even before they finna go after them, they always got them, Marvel got them great scenes that they show. Where they do the little circular scenes and boy, them ready to go, right? How do you feel? How you feel right now, Laverne? How you feel, Dionne? Imagine
Yes.
if every encounter from here on, you went into it feeling like that, right? Imagine the outcomes that you would get if every encounter, every situation, every challenge, every fear, you went into it just feeling like that. And this is an actual study. I went, because you know me, I'm just not gonna take anybody information. So I got to go research, right? It's an actual study that Harvard did. Check this out. 2020, Harvard spent their endowment money. 2012, spent their endowment money, the benefit of power posing before a high stakes social evaluation. Even to the point of the stance, where you put your arms, where you put your head, smiling. And this is what it showed. And Tony Robbins had something to say about it as well. The study proved that just by standing like that, your testosterone increases by 20%. Y'all just felt it. You felt that it was a biochemical shift in your body. You felt it. Your testosterone increases 20%. Your stress hormone cortisol levels decrease by 25%. And that your risk tolerance, meaning your willingness to do something risky, increases by 33%. Just because you stood up like this and smiled, you increased your willingness to approach something that made you afraid by 33%. Just that easy, right? So once you get past feeling silly, because you're probably gonna feel silly, but here's the great thing, you ain't got to do it in front of nobody. Right? You could do it in your room. It's just you and you in there.
Yeah.
But it works. It's been proven scientifically that it can greatly enhance not only your outcomes, but the ability for you to move past fears that you've had in your life that have been stopping you, that's been holding you back, and giving you just that much more to decide to go forward in that fear. So before I bring Dionne up, I just want to go back. Huh? Yeah, Adrian, you still have a question? I think she had her hand up from earlier. Because I see your hand up, but I think it was from when you had it up earlier. But before I bring Dionne on, it's simple. It's simple as it relates to attacking fear. We talked about a couple of things. Number one, be more aware of your state. We talked about things that can help you get into the right state, get into a peak state at any moment. Any moment you can get into it. How? Start moving. You get up, you ain't feeling good? Get up, go for a walk, go for a run, do some jumping jacks, do some push-ups. Get the body moving. Emotion, what is it? Energy and motion, right? So now if you want to change your emotion, start moving. It requires a movement. Because look at it from this standpoint. You know, I know it's a silly question, but I'm gonna ask it because you off the cuff, you know the answer to it. You know what a happy person looks like. You know how a happy person behaves. And you know how a depressed person behaves, right? And the way that you identify a happy and a depressed person is by what? By what they're doing, like their motions, their movements, like how they're maneuvering. Want to change your emotion? Move differently, right? So talk about state, be more conscious of the story that you're giving, you know, remember that there's a lot of stuff going on in your brain when you see something. That's why we say perception is reality. Technically it is. But at the end of the day, none of it's reality because we're all perceiving things. We're all looking at the same thing, But because of our filters and how we're processing it, how it comes to us is going to be different for everybody. So who knows what the real thing is that the person that we're looking at? Who knows what the reality is? None of us do, because we all have these filters that we're looking at it through. We all got these lenses on. So none of us know. But be more conscious and aware of that. Know that that's going on. Because guess what? That means you can change it. You can change the story. Go with an empowering story. As that little voice gets to talking to you and he starts sending you disempowering stories, throw it out the window. And you have the power to flip the switch and create, utilizing your imagination, an empowering story, and then operate in that vein, because that's going to help you identify the right strategies to utilize to put you in a position to get past that fear and take you to breakthrough. And in the last, if all else fails, if all else fails, just go stand in hero pose for about 5 minutes, right? Before you go attack that thing. And then go out there and, like it said on the show, go out there with your head up and conquer. All right, Dionne, you ready?
I'm ready.
I think I got
Thank you. It reminded me some of the things, I know I didn't get to speak when you asked those questions, but you spoke about some of the things that we feared in the past. So I remember way back, almost like 9 years ago, we had we were given a seminar at the bridal conventions they have every year. And I was like, I got to speak in front of all these, it was targeting towards people that were about to get married. Maybe they had to sell a house before they bought a house together. Or, I was nervous. My fear of speaking in front of people, I couldn't sleep. I was nervous. What am I going to say? I went over my presentation. I had that fear of speaking in front of people that I wasn't sure if they were going to receive me well. Like, take me as an expert, take me as someone they can trust, right? So then over the years, my confidence has grown. My competence has grown because of my experiences and practices. So it's like preparation. So the more I prepare for a presentation, the more I'm less nervous. The more the fear goes away, and I become I become fearless, because I know my stuff, I have the experience, and I want them to trust me to be their agent or to represent them. So what I'm going to talk about is very similar to what you've discussed. So it's just kind of
good, Dionne. They need double doses of.
Yes. So I will be able to share my screen, right? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It's coming. There it is.
So this is very similar. So about what you talked about, Michael, your perspective, your perception of a situation can seriously affect the way you respond. So always remember to be positive and ignore negative self-talk. This can really damage your mindset, which in turn impacts your productivity. So in the morning, I start with affirmations. Anything that I feel like I'm weak in, or anything that I'm struggling in, or say I'm worried about, anything that's constantly going over and over in my mind, that's something I need to speak life into. I need to take a positive outlook on it, not a negative. Look at, the glass is half full, not half empty. So that's really helping me change my perspective on the situation, whether it be working with a client, a new client, working with another agent. I have to come in with a positive mindset. Also shifting my attitude. When you shift your attitude controls everything. It's important to start each day with the right attitude by making a choice and deciding what a good day is, what that will be. It's also helpful for you to see how you frame things for yourself. Do you dread your daily responsibilities, or do you see them as an opportunity to help people and do your job? Changing your frame of reference can change your attitude, and change your attitude can help your business. So if it's something say I'm fearing, because just like all agents, some people may have the fear of rejection or the fear of letting somebody down. I don't like giving my clients bad news or letting them know, hey, your loan wasn't approved. This has happened. And then I got to let them know, like, these are your options. I sometimes fear those things, or I feared them in the past, because it's like, I want to be supportive. I want to be the solution, not the problem. I don't want to bring problems. I want to find the solution for my clients and the people that I work with. So having effective communication and having that positive mindset and a positive attitude when I get up in the morning will help me overcome and defeat any fear, any doubt that I have in regards to me being a great agent. So that's what you have to do. You have to control your attitude, and don't, I would say, don't let your attitude prevent you from going forward or moving forward, or being stagnant. You have to grow. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. So we have to change our attitude as to, hey, well, this is a learning experience. I understand this has happened, this time in this situation, but I can learn from it so I can prevent it the next time and move forward. I guess sometimes, Mike, I know how sometimes you ask questions. I want to ask questions sometimes how some people may feel, if anybody has felt when they're working with a client or working with an agent, and they don't want to give the bad news. How did they handle it? Like, or they didn't want to give, the situation that has came that may stop the sale of this property. How did you handle it?
That's a great question, Dionne.
Anybody want to?
So I will share. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
So I deal with any type of news head on. I'm kind of like this. We go into with my clients, and I'm fairly new, but in other businesses that I deal with, is I know that you come in the situation and you understand that, ups and downs take place. It's going to be obstacles in the situation. And usually I'm pretty good at just letting them know, hey, I had a client not long ago. We had a contract and the sellers were giving us a really hard time. Michael and I were discussing it, and it was going downhill. They recently just released my client's funds, Michael. I'll tell you about that. But she was good with it. She was like, well, what's for me is for me. We had already discussed it. And so sometimes you'll be surprised. Sometimes you'll have some people that will just not take it well, but most times when you deal with most people, they will take it pretty good. So I really don't have a problem with giving them the bad news. It's just how you deliver it. I don't be like, oh, well, you lost, you just, you give it to them with a positive outlook. Like, hey, whatever we don't win, it's not for us to win. Whatever, if it doesn't go through, something else is going to go wrong down the line. You have to give them a greater outlook on just, oh, we lost this contract. No, there's a greater contract out there for you. So let's not count this as a loss. Let's count this as a lesson learned, and let's move forward. So I try to give them positive stuff going on besides just the bad news.
I love that, how you said a positive outlook on it. Like, this wasn't for us. Got to keep it going. Don't give up. And in this business, it's ups and downs. So you have to have that positive mindset, or it can overcome you. So, and affect your productivity. Did anybody else want to elaborate? Give a situation?
I like what she said, like, giving the news head on. But I also even kind of struggle with that because, I'm always trying to be, like Dionne said, the positive one. So when I do, when I get that bad news that I have to report back, I struggle with, like, okay, I guess I don't struggle. I actually talk myself into, like, how would I wish to receive that news? So, or how would it make me feel if, I receive that kind of news? So I will, probably talk myself into something like she said, some things just don't work out for us or for you, but there's still many other options to explore. So let's not give up, or maybe, we need to work at it a little bit more. But like I was saying in the message box earlier, the hardest part is to start, and the fact that they're even talking to, me, a realtor, or any professional, at that is the hump that a lot of us struggle with, just getting started or giving the news upfront, like she says. I still do have to process it a little bit more. But yeah, just give them, the feedback, and give them something positive to, end it with, not something negative.
Thank you. Yeah, and the more you do it, the more the confidence, the more the more you can keep it moving forward. The next thing is action. The recipe for success in this business isn't all that complicated. It's usually that people don't want to do the things that make them uncomfortable. So some people may feel the things that go on the tasks that we have in this business will make them uncomfortable. Sometimes people don't have that problem. And if this is the case for you, there's no reason to be discouraged, because you found what you need to work on to increase your success. So whether that, if you need to work on your interpersonal skills, get a mentor, find a class. Also, I joined, what's that, Toastmasters a while back. That helped me with my public speaking. And whatever the problem is, there's always actionable items to solve them. It's just a matter of determination to find the solution and to get started. So I have like the 3 C's, which is competence, confidence, and consistency. And focusing on these 3 will help you over deliver for your clients, and in turn for yourself and for your business. So competence, confidence, and consistency. That helps me become the trusted resource for my clients if I master these 3 things. And I also have a daily action planner that I want to share. You may have one, you may not. This is one that, let's see, can y'all see it? Does it say daily action planner?
Yes, is that a planner? It's a planner you have?
Yeah, I can email it or send it out. So this is 2 pages. There's actually, it's a booklet actually. I bought it a couple years ago. I use this to help me start my day with positive affirmations. And it also helps me go back and look back, what did I do? Hey, what all did I get accomplished yesterday?
Right.
And I can look back for the week if I fill this out. So it starts with the positive affirmations. Every day should be began with positivity. You have your targets on what you're going to target for the day, the priority, what you're grateful for, and then your schedule. Plan your day effectively. And then at the end of the day, what are your wins? Give yourself credit. Lessons learned, anything you can improve on. And then the back page or the second page, you have your follow-up clients that you need to review, your admin duties, or to send to your assistant, or your new clients or customers that you need to add to your CRM. It also says if they're a buyer, seller, renter. And then your daily tracker, how many new contacts, how many hours did you prospect, and how many new leads, and then your notes. And it states success is never owned, it's rented, and rented is due every day. So this is something that we need to do on a daily basis. And if you have any feedback on this planner or would like to add something to it, please let me know. Mike, you have any?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it something you created, or is it a book you bought?
I bought.
Can we buy it somewhere?
I can email it to you.
Okay, great. Thank you. That was good information. Thank you, Dionne.
That was good. So you finished, Dionne?
Yeah, I'm finished.
Okay. All right. Well, look, let's just take questions. Certainly. Look, y'all have me, have Dionne. Y'all have any challenges, any situations, or give us some feedback. You know, what are some takeaways? Let's just spend about 10, 15 minutes doing a recap. And then especially if there's anything that you're going to be able to implement. What from your time here, we've spent about an hour together. What from here will you take away and begin implementing immediately to help move you into the direction that you want your career and your life to move?
My hero pose every morning.
Hero pose every morning. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Good.
that even the 5 seconds that I got up and did it.
Right. Like I said earlier, there's a biochemical reaction happening inside of you when you do it. Something just as simple as that. So awesome. Who else? Give me something that you're going to do. Begin doing immediately.
So I want to work on, most times I'm pretty confident, but when we were talking about the defeated times, or just like the young lady when she came on, she was saying she have a hard time giving bad news. I take away in this is that if I don't believe that I can do something, how can I convince someone else that I can? How can I, if I want to go out here and sell a house and I don't feel like I can, well, how am I going to sell the house? Who's going to believe that I can sell the house if I don't believe it myself? And so positive affirmations are really, really good. Speaking life into your situation, speaking power into your situation, the ability to take control of any situation is always good. So I work on it now, and I constantly work on it. So it gives me more hope, even with doing the super pose. I didn't do it on camera, but I did do it. My arm up.
Absolutely.
To do it. So, different things. And I'm one that if it's going to cause me to have success, then I will try anything that, is good. And so, you can outweigh something if you haven't tried it. So I definitely tried the superhero pose. I'm not sure how many, what it'll do for today, but I will practice it and other things moving forward.
Good. Yeah, now all of it is a technique. It's a technique. If you want to change how you feel, a lot of us don't feel like we can change how we feel. You can change how you feel in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
Change how you feel. You can go from sad to happy in a matter of seconds. You can go from mad to glad. You can go from angry to cool. You can go from good to super excited in a matter of seconds. And you have the control to do it. And all superhero pose is just an example of you being able to do that with your physiology. There is a mind-body connection. I promise you it is. When you think certain things, your body, your nonverbals are automatically going to react and adjust to what you're thinking, right? So if that's the case, if you want to change what you're thinking or what you're feeling, because if you feel a certain way, your body is going to automatically adjust. Like I said earlier, we know what unhappy look like physically, just like we know what happy looks like physically. We know what angry looks like physically. We know what sad looks like physically. We know what depressed looks like physically. So if you don't want to feel depressed anymore, then maneuver your body like a happy person maneuvers. Like when you're happy, what are you? Standing straight up. You got your chest out, you're smiling. Act like a happy person. And guess what's going to happen? Your feelings are going to change. Your mental's going to change. So that's all superhero pose was. It's just proof that you have more control than you think of your state and what you bring to the table every day, moment by moment. So great lesson, Adrian. Who else? Who else has something, feedback, or something that they're going to use from your time today? And Dionne, she just put the link in there for you guys.
Oh, great. Thank you. I think this link will help me because I need to get more organized and everything, seeing that, yeah, I just need to get more organized.
Okay, awesome. And look, I want to remind y'all, these things that we're learning in the trainings, like these are things that we're going to be executing on in the coaching. So the coaching is to have something in place on a consistent basis. to not only hold you accountable, yeah, accountability is there, but it's really to have, to offer a level of consistency in how you operate, right?
Yeah.
Having that goalpost every week that at least one time a week, you're gonna take inventory of what you're doing. You're gonna take inventory or assessment of your business at least once a week. That's something else that coaching does for you, right? All we do here with these training is that we take a lot of the techniques that I give you guys in coaching that are more custom and personalized to your particular situation, but we just take these techniques and we just teach them on a universal scale. I don't know if any of you all were needing or having issues or challenges with fear. We didn't know, but we felt like it was some good techniques and strategies. But when I'm one-on-one with you and we can talk about your specific situation, there's a multitude of tools and strategies and techniques that I have access to that can be specific to you. But if you don't participate in the coaching with me, then I can't help you. So, you know, I want to encourage you all, take advantage of it, man. Take advantage of it. That's why I really want y'all to, I really want y'all to pay for it, not because I need more money, but sometimes we don't take things, we take for granted things that we don't have to pay for, right? But at least you get your $30 credit, right? So that was just my way of you guys putting some kind of skin in it. You save 30 bucks on your member dues when you do it, but the value that you get from the coaching sessions is worth way more than the 30 bucks.
It is.
Trust me. The coaching, the value, the strategies, the insight is worth way more. So take advantage of it. So that's my little plug.
I just want to say thank you because it definitely helps me, because if I did not have that weekly coaching, trust me, even though I just joined Brooks and Davis, I would have said, forget it, I'm out of real estate. So this actually helps me. Thank you so much.
Look at that, man. I done saved your real estate career.
You sure have.
Awesome, man. Go ahead, Laura.
I was gonna say same, because I already have plan B and plan C. So, you know, having to join you guys, it was because of the coaching and the mentor that I gained. And it was my breakthrough. So I appreciate that, you know, it is free, and that, yeah, we still have the accountability behind it. So don't take it away.
Yeah.
Don't take it away.
And let me say one more thing, because when I got laid off from my job and I was able to do this full time, I hopped right into this full time. So you keep me on task. Otherwise, I would have been going back to work full time. And I'm excited that with you keeping me on task and helping me with what I'm supposed to be doing, I do feel like I'm at a job, but I'm doing something that I love. I'm doing my daily task because it's what I love to do, and not to even think about a job. So thank you again.
Oh, now y'all know that y'all have volunteered for our digital marketing, right? Y'all know we're gonna use these snippets.
Oh, I'm good.
Lord, you good? I can use that testimony,
Yeah.
so I can help more people.
Yes.
All right, Laverne said yes. What about Laura? Laura,
Say it in Spanish too.
you cool with it?
I'll say it in Spanish too. Look, whatever helps, because you're helping me, so we're all winning.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. All right, awesome, man. Anything else? Any other comments, any other feedback? Anybody have anything else, any techniques or strategies that they're going to use immediately in their business that they want to share? Anybody? Look, I'm gonna say this again. You get out of these trainings what you put into it. I promise you. I know it sounds cliche. But what you get out of everything you do, what you invest into it, what you receive out of it is a return on investment, right? So you show up to these trainings, you don't say nothing, you don't show your picture, you don't put your comments, you don't engage, you're not gonna get what you can get out of them. I mean, you know, I'm doing my best begging impersonation. Please, you need, and it's not for me, it's for you, because I know what you're missing out on. Like, you need it, your business needs it, your people are depending on you to show up to operate at a high level. And it's so close, it's within your hand. It's something as simple as just participation, showing up, playing the game, right? Like Jim Rome said, how you do some things is how you do everything. You don't show up to this simple stuff, you don't participate in these simple things, we know you're not participating in the difficult things, in the challenging things. And that's why you're not seeing the success and you're not able to live the quality of life that you want to live. That's why you don't have that freedom of choice, flexibility that you want. That's why you're not able to pursue the things that make you happy, because it's how you are showing up. So make a commitment to you. If you don't take nothing else away from the training, you make a commitment to yourself that you're going to start showing up. You're going to start participating. You are going to begin playing the game. Well, all right, that's all I got. Anybody got anything else before we wrap up?
I took a lot of notes. I could say a lot, but I'm trying to give somebody else some time. So thank you again.
Absolutely, absolutely, Laverne. Thank you. All right. Well, with that being said, we'll wrap this up today. Schedule your coaching session. I hope to see everybody tonight. We're doing town hall meeting. Town hall meeting is an opportunity for you to get exposed to what we've done, what our last quarter looked like, levels of achievement. We're going to highlight our top producing agents for quarter 4 of 2021. But we're also going to be able to highlight the entire year 2021. So you're going to be able to see who was the #1 producing agent, who did the most production, who's #1 for Brooks and Davis for 2021. We'll be able to see that. We're also going to talk about some of the things that we launched in 2021, some of the new things like our new and improved website. If you haven't gone to see the website, go check it out. It is phenomenal. And then we're also going to talk about some of the upcoming plans that the company has. We're going to launch our 2022 core execution plan. So you guys are going to be able to see what we're going to be intentional about in 2022. You'll be able to see that. As far as our goals, our new core priorities, we'll be putting that out there as well. So today, it's going to be Zoom, it's simulcast, so we can do it Zoom, or you can come into the Coaching and Training Center, the central one by NRG as well. Just want to come in person. And that's going to be at 5 o'clock. We'll be sending you guys out a text again about that as well. But I highly encourage you, the Q1 town hall meeting is always the best because we're able to close the year out.